Hey everyone, so welcome to Let's Paint Live for March. I can't believe it's March already. So March is St. Patrick's Day. It's the time change, another wonderful thing. So we thought in honor of mostly St. Patrick's Day that we would do something that kind of represents luck. So we've of course got our 4-leaf clover, but then we're doing a really fun painting. Lots of techniques, but fun, whimsy, all of the lucky items that everybody talks about. So that's in honor of March. So Let's Paint Live, for anyone that is just joining us, we teach you in 1 hour how to paint a painting. So in an hour, we will complete all of the elements of this particular design. We do it on the first Thursday of every month, so always join us. We've got a new painting every month, new teachers, new techniques. So it's just a really fun way to learn some new techniques. So Let's Paint Live is a fabulous kit. We use the items in the kit every single month. So if you get online and purchase the Let's Paint Live kit, all of those links will be below in the chat. You always have everything that you need for all of the paintings. So I'm going to show you the specific colors that we're using. I always tell people, if you don't like aqua, use a different color. If you don't want to add, a horseshoe, which is in our particular painting, you won't need the navy. So really make it your own, have fun. But I'm going to go over the specific supplies that I used. Okay, so the colors that we're using today, of course, wicker white. 2 different pinks. We've got bright pink and baby pink. Again, everything in the Let's Paint Live kit. We've got apple red. We've got this bright yellow, daffodil yellow. We've got 2 greens. We've got lime green and classic green. And then we've got a couple blues. We've got brilliant blue. We've got aqua. We have got navy blue. And actually, let me dig in here. We're also going to use Dutch aqua. So we've actually got 4 blues. And then for our fortune cookie, we are going to use cinnamon. So one thing I am really excited about today, so new, and actually I lied, not in the Let's Paint Live kit, but new to Plaid, new to you guys. We have paint markers. Oh my gosh. So we have got Apple Barrel paint pens, and we've got so many colors. We have got ultra fine, we've got a chisel edge, we've got a medium tip. You guys, these are fabulous. They're a fabulous way to accent your painting, to doodle, to be creative, to just add another element to the fun. So we are using these on Let's Paint Live today, and I have picked just an assortment. So of course I've got black, white, the metallics are beautiful, I've got silver and gold, and then I've got red. These again are great for the accents. If you want to use a brush, you're totally fine doing that. But we just want to introduce you to a new product that we absolutely love here in the studio. So Apple Barrel paint pens, black, white, red, silver, and gold. Okay, I'm using a 10 by 10 canvas. Again, all the brushes are included in the Let's Paint Live kit, but I always tell people you are totally safe doing all of the elements of this painting if you've got maybe a medium, a small, and a large flat brush. So I've got a number 2, a number 12, and a number 8. You can have a 4, you can have a 6, you can have a 10, but I always say medium, large, and small, and you'll be able to do everything on this particular painting. Always paper towels, always a brush basin, always some kind of palette. I've got palette paper, but you can use a plate from your kitchen. And then a chalk stick is what I'm going to use to apply the pattern. And then we all usually use a blow dryer. The only reason is it allows us to teach more techniques in the 1 hour and speed up our dry time. All right, those are our supplies, so I think we're ready to get started. You guys join us in the chat, ask any questions. Caitlin's here in the studio and she'll answer any questions, but again, thanks for joining us. Okay. So first things first, I always like to work on a colored background. It makes layering the colors just fun. It gives a lot of dimension to your painting. So today I want my base coated canvas to be this beautiful bright pink. So just pick up your largest flat brush and we're just going to do a pretty basic, you can see the coverage for folk art is fabulous. We're going to do a pretty basic, simple base coat on our entire canvas. So this color will peek through all the elements of our painting today. So it doesn't look like, I'll bring this back in, it doesn't look like it's a pink painting, but see all this fun dimension that's outlining all of our elements? That is achievable because of the fun base coat that we're starting with. Of course, we could start with white, but then we're having to go back in and add color or layers, and it's so much easier to just paint around your elements and let your base coat show through. That's really the reason why I love to paint on a colored canvas as opposed to starting with white. It's a pretty bright pink there. Okay. Doesn't have to be perfect. You don't want any big blobs of paint, so just even that out, but just a nice even base coat. Okay, and now I am going to dry that. The Folk Art Matte acrylic dry really quick regardless of a blow dryer, but the blow dryer makes them dry really fast. Okay, so your base coat does need to be completely dry. All right, so now I'm going to use a chalk stick. The reason I love chalk is it eliminates, it kind of just blends in with your painting, whereas a pencil, sometimes you've got to work to cover it. I'm going to try to get both of these in there. Okay, so I didn't provide a pattern, mainly just because there's such fun basic elements, and then it kind of becomes like coloring book style. So I want you guys to just have a really loose, free feel when we apply our pattern with the chalk. So I'm going to pick our biggest element first, which is this little bowl, and just really sketch it, really light-handed, and think of everything as a shape, like a big a big smile, and then you're going to complete the top of the bowl, and then you're going to do the bottom of the bowl. And the great thing about chalk, maybe that's too tall, you just have to rub it off like that. Whereas if you had pencil, you would have a big disaster that you would have to erase. So I'm going to actually lower my bowl a little bit. I'm going to start at the bottom, and I'm just going to do like a really basic half circle, and then I'm going to do the top of that bowl, and then I'm going to do the inside of that bowl. All right, so there's my bowl. Don't worry, we're going to paint all around and over so you don't have to completely erase your chalk line. And then I'm going to do the table that it's sitting on. And I'm going to make it angle a little bit up to the side. You can make it straight, you can make it really high, whatever you want to do. So I'm not going to draw these elements exactly, like I'm not going to draw the details or the starburst or the dots on the dice. I'm just going to get placement for each little element. So the ladybug is down here, just an oval with a head. Don't worry about the legs or the dots or any of the details because we're base coating that first. The little playing card, I do like it kind of coming out of the bowl. So I'm just going to overlap with a little square, again for placement. the clover. It is March, so he's going to be kind of dominant. And you know what's fun? Look at all the shapes within the shapes. So a clover is simply hearts, 4 hearts grouped in the center, and everybody can draw a heart. So I'm just going to draw 1 heart, and then I'm going to draw another heart. So that's a really easy way to draw a simple shape like a clover. Then I'm going to bring that stem into the bowl just for placement. Of course, the dice, square first, and then kind of visualize where you want your second one. And then to make it dimensional, we're just going to connect the sides. Again, it's very basic shape. We'll add the details when we're painting. Okay, the little horseshoe, my favorite personally, good luck icon, and it's just like a U, like a letter, and then you can top that off and then make it dimensional if you want that much detail, or you can just leave it like one loop just to represent placement. A lot of stars, so I'm just going to draw a little star there again, not worrying about the shooting star or the details. And I'm going to add, okay, so the fortune cookie, just kind of a really wide V with a soft bottom, and then just kind of connect it like that. All fortune cookies are different, so it won't be right or wrong. And then of course you've got to have your fortune. So just a little tag hanging out of there. And then I've got 2 stars, odds they say are better. So I'm going to add another star right there. So that's the composition. That's, to me, that's a better way to apply a pattern, because then what you're doing is you're learning more and you're having more, you're more focused on painting, on blending the colors, on adding the dimension. Whereas if you applied a perfect pattern with transfer paper, you would almost work like you were doing a coloring book. Okay. Any questions on applying the pattern? I bet there's not. Pretty simple elements. So here we go. All right, you guys, I'm going to try. I'll have that peeking in for reference, but I'm not going to be able to have it in there the whole time. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is my table, and that is light baby pink. And I always have white on my palette because we're going to kind of add that to every single color that we use. And then my bowl is this beautiful ultramarine. There we go. Blended with this really beautiful aqua. So maybe we'll start there. Kind of a dried brush technique, and all I mean by that is if you do clean your brush, use a paper towel to get as much water out of it as you can, because layering color, if you have a dry brush and not a lot of water on there, you'll get all that blending and shading, and you'll get kind of that brush stroke, that outline that'll allow the pink to show through. So you don't want to add a lot of water to your project. All right, so first I'm going to do the bowl, and I'm simply going to pick up that blue, and I'm just going to go back and forth adding color. I don't want a completely solid blue bowl. I want, let me see if I can hold that up. See how when you just go back and forth adding color, you've got areas that not only show the texture of the canvas, which I love, but it lets some of that pink show through. That's the look that you're going to want. So I'm going to do the same with the aqua. If you've ever got too much brush, or I'm sorry, too much paint on your brush, definitely just touch down on your paper towel, because you can always add paint, but you can't get that pink base coat back if you completely cover it up. I'm going to kind of outline where I drew the clover. I definitely want the pink to be in the nooks and crannies of each different element, kind of as an outline. Same with the card. I'm going to keep that pink and just add. And I'm just going back and forth in the aqua and the blue. I'm not cleaning my brush every time. because I want that really abstract, layered feel. It's going to start out rough, guys, but it's going to really, really be fun when we're all done. I want a firm edge on the bottom of my bowl, so I'm just going to kind of make that a little wider, but then definitely blend it back in so you don't have a line that outlines it. And you can always go back. We're just starting with our base coats of each of our individual elements of our painting. So I clean my brush in the water. Just make sure that you've got some paper towels handy so you can remove any excess water from your brush. Same exact thing with the baby pink. I'm just going to really random brush strokes back and forth because you don't want a solid base coat. I'm going to outline my little ladybug, same as we did with the clover and the card. Because if I painted over the ladybug and then went back in and added him, all of the hot pink base coat would be gone. And that's something that I want to be in all of the areas of the painting. I'm leaving a little bit of hot pink. I'm not going in and touching up against the rim of the bowl because I want that outline. And every now and then I'm touching in the wicker white, which just gives you a lot of dimension with all the base coat colors that we're using. Okay, so there's my little table. I'm going to switch to a smaller flat brush, but use whatever size you're comfortable with. This is an 8, so I'm going to just base coat the card. Same technique that we're doing. Very little paint, keeping some of that hot pink base coat between elements. And we're just base coating each little good luck design. But really brush strokey, so it's kind of abstract and fun. All right, I'm going to get the smallest of the flat brushes. This is a number 6, and I'm going to add the classic green over to my palette, and a little bit of the lime green. Make sure you've always got the wicker white. And then just dip in the lime green first for maybe this heart or leaf of the clover. And then I'm going to jump into the dark green. Again, there's no need at all to dry or to wash out your brush. Back into the lime green, maybe for this guy. Touch on your paper towel if you've got too much, because you really want that pink. See where the canvas and the pink texture shows through? Perfect. That's what I love the best. Touch in the wicker white. And just kind of, just keep layering color and going back and forth from the different areas, because that's what makes it look like shading and highlighting and abstract and all the fun things about a painting. A little bit of lime green. I'm going to kind of connect that a little bit more in the middle. Don't forget, the wonderfully new, super wonderful Apple Barrel paint pens will go and add all the details to all of our little icons. But I am going to apply green, a little bit of wicker white with the green. So the little clover looks like, I know, say it, Lucky Charms, the soup or the cereal. It's kind of a fun thing to paint in honor of March and St. Patrick's Day. This is the cool, hip, trendy version of Lucky Charms cereal. All right, so you've got your little clover. I love the green and the pink. So make sure you keep a border because the green and the pink complement each other so good. All right, I think I'm gonna stick with this little number 6. I'm gonna add some of the daffodil yellow to my palette. And I'm gonna base coat the stars. No water on my brush. You guys, we love to see your paintings, so after you paint, we love it if you hashtag and share them with Plaid, because it's just so fun to see all the different things, all the different styles. Someone out there's using different colors, or they just did maybe a bunch of clovers. Maybe they added a heart. We just really love to see all the things that you guys create. So please share your paintings with us on here. We love to see them. I'm going into the wicker white, not cleaning my brush, but just a little bit to kind of add highlighting and shading and dimension to the stars. I totally get it now. I'm not trying to be like Bob Ross, who has got the most soothing and calm voice, but I think when you're painting, it just kind of slows you down. So I was just totally sounding like him, which is funny because I'm normally a really fast, loud talker, but painting made me do it. Okay, so base coat, a little bit of white, a little bit of yellow, but you can see it's just kind of really loose, blended, and shaded. All right, cleaning off my brush, always just plain old white for the dice. And I'm gonna do that big front-facing square of the dice first. Not solid coverage. Again, a little bit of the canvas texture, a little bit of the pink. But I'm going to start there. And then you know what? I didn't say black, but black is also in the kit, so that's a color that you've got. A little dot of black, barely any, like that tiny little bit. I'm gonna scoop some of my wicker white over there and barely touch in the black. Folk Art matte acrylics, I'm sure you all already know this, but they blend and you can mix colors and they don't muddy. They're just really fabulous acrylic paints. So I'm gonna make a really light gray and I'm gonna use that for the back side of the dice. You can add more wicker white depending on the shade of gray. You can add a little bit more black. Maybe I'll do that just for the top. Had a little too much paint, so I rolled some of the big areas off. The dry brush technique is just so easy because you can see all the layers come together and you don't have to shade and highlight as much because it automatically happens with all of the colors showing through. Let's see, a sharp edge there, but still letting some of that pink come through. All right, so now my dice are base coated. Now we're gonna do our cookie. This is the cinnamon. Just a little bit is all that you need. I've got wicker white on the brush. I wasn't even gonna clean it. I'm just gonna go right into the cinnamon and base coat my little cookie. A little bit of wicker white now and then. You can see the chalk is just a really great guide. If you want your cookie to be a little bit bigger, you know, you ignore the chalk and you go right over it. But it just gives you the confidence to start layering all the paint. Maybe a little bit more wicker white on the bottom. I'm going to clean my brush, dry it off, and do my little fortune. Just going to base coat that white. If you want a really long fortune, you could do something really cute and make it come up higher and curve. Mine's just a short little fortune. But I'm keeping that pink. I'm keeping everything outlined with the hot pink base coat, which will really come together in the end, I promise. All right, so everything, oh, not our horseshoe. So that's the navy blue. Just a little bit of navy blue. Same brush, I've still got wicker white on there. But move around, even though it's just a little design element, still kind of jump around. Don't outline it, don't give it a solid edge, because it won't match, you know, the soft brushstroke feeling of all of our elements. So do some strokes that go that way, then kind of, you're almost sketching, if that's the right way to describe it, where you just kind of go back really with a soft hand when you're applying your color, like you would do if you were sketching with a pencil. You never push down too much, and you're just really soft and airy. A little bit of wicker white, not too much, because it really will change up that navy quick. But it's fun to have that layered color. You can always go back and add a little bit more navy. Okay, I think all of our little elements are base coated. Let me see. I want my horseshoe to be a little thicker when I go back in with the markers. It'll give me more area to doodle on. Maybe like that. All right, I think that's all of our little elements. Oh, not our ladybug. So I'm going to clean off that same number 6 flat brush. Get a little tiny bit of red. Now you can either leave the head and the dots of the ladybug. Obviously I wouldn't paint the legs or the details. You can leave that for the marker, which is perfect. Or if your ladybug's a little bit bigger than like mine, get a little bit more black. But I'm going to base coat her body with the red. Dipping in the wicker white every now and then, just to get the layered color. And then I'm going to actually do, again, because my ladybug's kind of a big ladybug, I'm going to still do my details with the markers. And I'm going to just base coat just her head, and I'm just going to do kind of the placement for the dots. I'll still go in with the markers for like the little detail, the legs, her antennas. But I'm just placing color for her little dots. All right, I think that's everything, and everything is base coated. Okay, so now, very weird step for anyone that's joining me for the first time. Now we're gonna get rid of all the pink, except for the little details around all of our design elements, and we're gonna use this beautiful light aqua. So that's Dutch Aqua. you'll see it looks like we've been layering and layering colors forever once we start building this background. It's really a fun way to get some texture. Okay, so number 10 flat brush, you can use a 10, a 12, an 8, whatever you're most comfortable with. No water. I'm going to start in the Dutch Aqua. And really the main thing about this is you don't want to outline because you don't have a lot of paint on your brush, and that will actually dry as you're painting it, and then you'll see your outline. And you don't want to do stripes. You don't want to lay bricks. You want to be as random as possible. So I always say just jump all around the canvas applying paint. So I'll do a stroke there, a stroke there. I'll move up here because each stroke oddly is so different because it's applying a different amount of paint. More paint is always obviously going to look different than less paint. So you just want to jump around so you get a really natural application of color that is eventually going to build to be our background. I hope you guys can see it's a mess now, but remember, we're going to fill all of the pink in. But see how when you jump around, you get a solid stroke, then you get a lot of the pink, then you get none of the pink. That being really random like that is important because it keeps the composition looking the same. Every now and then, stick that same brush in the wicker white. Don't wash it off, still have the beautiful Dutch Aqua on there. But that just adds different values of the Dutch Aqua to the background. We'll start with the big areas, obviously the big open space. But because you're not creating a pattern, stripes or bricks or tiles, it will work perfectly when we go in and get a little bit closer to each of our little designs, each of our little good luck charms. When you get closer, don't outline a big section. You can outline a little, but then brush over it to get that really abstract feel for your outlines. Like you can outline a little, but then go right over it and soften the edge. Outline a little, really just for control purposes. Like I'm going to outline, but then I'm going to go back in and soften any edge I might have created. I'm going to outline just that little section, but then pick up more paint and overlap that. But make sure, let me make sure you guys can see it. Make sure, I'm not good at holding them up. See how I'm letting the pink become an outline? Make sure you keep that pink because it's a really fun pop of color. Especially around those little dice because I almost covered them up twice. Even in that little tiny area inside those clover leaves, I'm going to leave some pink. Wicker white, the color I always need a little more of, so get more paint when you need it. And just keep going around and around all the icons until you've built the background that you like. almost covered up my fortune. That'd be bad luck, I know. I need all the luck I can get. It's fun to see all the brush strokes kind of come together when you're doing a really loose abstract painting technique like this. And it's a really great way to see just how many options and how many fun techniques you can do with the Folk Art Matte acrylic. Like, it dries fast enough to make layering color perfect. It doesn't dry too fast that you can't layer color. I mean, all of the things that you would ever want, it can do depending on your technique. That's why acrylics are just so much fun to work with. Okay, I think I have built the background that I want. Keep adding if you want to, if you want less pink, less outline, but I like a kind of a heavy outline. I do see some areas in my bowl. I have got the Dutch Aqua on there. I'm not even going to clean it in the water. I'm just going to remove excess on a paper towel. And I'm going to go just in that aqua and add just a little bit more, just to brighten up the bowl just a little bit. You can add color to it. You don't have to, but I'm going to tighten up the edge around the card and the table just a little. And actually now I'm going to go into the wicker white like I've been doing on everything else, just to add a little bit of what would be highlights. All right, I think that, maybe one more. Do I have wicker white? Yep. One more little area with some white. I lied, one more little area with the aqua. All right, maybe now. Okay, so all of the elements are base coated. The color is blended. You've got all that fun shading. So this, we just built the composition. It's so quick, it's so easy. You could leave it like this. It's kind of a fun, different technique. But now we're gonna have some fun with the paint markers. So the main thing with the paint markers, like any paint marker, is you want to work on a dry surface. These are multi-surface though, you guys. So these, you could do ceramics, you could do paintings on canvas, you can do wood or journaling, even on fabric. There is so much that you can do with our Apple Barrel paint pens. So we're just really excited to add them to every project. So you guys keep applying your base coat. I am going to go in though and dry this with the blow dryer. Let's see. Definitely test it. Again, it wouldn't be as important if we were going in and outlining with paint, but because our markers are wonderful and fabulous and you want to use them on 100 different projects, you don't want to dip the marker into any paint that is still wet. Totally dry. Okay, so let me get all of these open. We have so many beautiful colors. We've got purple and green and bright pink, a couple different metallics. And I think I mentioned there's a fine tip, a medium tip, a chisel tip, an ultra fine tip. So there's so many different projects that you guys can do. Same goes for these markers, is you want to really give them a good shake. You definitely want to hear the ball bouncing around in there. And then you want to start it. You just have to push a few times on a marker. Oh, look at that. Oh, you guys, they're so, so, so wonderful. I'm going to prime them all. Can hear the ball rattling. Some you have to shake for days to get the paint to get mixed up in there and activated. These activate so, so quick. I think I'm using ultra fine and fine. So you'll see the difference between two of them. This is the gold. The golds are beautiful. Oh, see, they prime so fast, which I love. Sorry, I should have done this before, but hopefully you're doing it with your markers so we can do it together. You just have to pump it on a paper towel or a piece of your palette a few times. There we go. I think the red's the one I'm using, just the fine tip. Yep. So ultra fine and fine. And then the white. Do, do, do. All right, our markers are ready. And this is the easy part. So markers are just like doodling or drawing or coloring. Just have fun. You don't have to do exactly what I'm doing. You don't have to doodle with the markers at all. But I'm going to just add fun elements that it's so much easier to add with a paint pen than it is to add with a fine liner brush. Keeping to the tradition of, really loose, really layered color. I'm not going to do a hard outline. I'm not going to do, hard, solid lines. I'm going to be really sketchy. So I'm going to add kind of a basic plaid pattern to the bowl. So I'm just going to do some really loose lines, first going down. I'm not measuring out the space, and maybe I just kind of sketch over each one. And then following the curve of the bowl, I'm going to do lines going horizontal, not measuring. I don't want each square to be the same, because each brush stroke is definitely not the same. I'm going to kind of sketch the rim of the bowl, a tiny bit on the edge, but not creating, what looks like a pattern. Maybe a little scribble that kind of mimics a shaded piece or a highlighted piece behind the card or the clover. Let's see if you guys can see it. It's metallic. Let's see if I wiggle it. Oh, I got it. Yeah. So see, it matches the composition that's really loose and abstract. The markers wants to kind of mimic that same feeling. So not hard lines, not thick lines. Oh, look at that metallic. I hope that also shows you guys how beautiful the metallic is. Okay, so we're gonna just keep doodling all around our design. So the card will be fun. Obviously, it's got to be the Ace of Spades, right? An upside down heart. Remember, everything is kind of a shape that you already know. So an upside down heart, color that in. He sits on his little stand. I'm going to do the little ace. I'm gonna do a little baby one up on top. And you guys, this is the fine tip, not even the ultra fine tip. And you can see the detail we're getting. So sticking kind of here in the bowl would be the other spade. Let's see if I can do that upside down. Oh, I can. It's just a regular heart with a little stand. And then I'm going to outline it a little. So there's our little card. All right, the clover I'm going to do in black. So I'm first going to connect in the center each leaf, and then I'm going to just outline it. Same sketchy, almost like I'm scribbling or doodling. Kind of outline the little stem. So there's my little clover. Hold that up, see if you guys can see. The black's a really easy one to show you guys. All right, then the dice. You can pick your favorite number. You can do, what I'm doing. I'm gonna put 3 circles on the front of this guy. Maybe I'm gonna do 5 on this guy. One's easy, I'll do 1 there. 2, let's see, I don't know, so maybe I'll do 3 here. I got enough space for that. Maybe I'll do, I don't want to do another one, maybe I'll do 6. Oh, that's a lot. But I'm going to make them a little bit smaller. But I'm not having to think about the spacing. I'm not having, each dot has to be exactly the same size. It's a really fun, abstract feel. So I added my dots. You could leave it like that, which is kind of clean and simple, or just sketch using the black a little bit more detail onto each side of your dice. Oh, there we go. But that pink is still popping through that we did in the very beginning as our base coat color. Paint and markers. Oh, it's so fun. I think I'm gonna do black on the fortune cookie. I'm gonna kind of define him a little bit on the edge. I'm going to kind of outline my fortune. I think it'll be the same. It's all good. You can't go wrong with that fortune, right? You could personalize it though. That'd be so fun. If you were given this as a gift, that'd be a really fun way. Let's see. I think my horseshoe, maybe I'll do a little bit of white, like maybe the circles. Just because it pops off the navy so much. And I love the contrast of that. But then maybe a little metallic still. So I'll scribble an outline with the metallic silver. You can do whatever you want with the markers. This is the fun, easy part. See if you can hold that up. You can see both the metallic and, if I don't catch the light, you won't see the metallic. Oh, there we go. And then the gold is beautiful. And I'm just gonna do the same thing. Outline the stars. I'm going all the way into the Dutch aqua, which I love because then it's like gold, a little Dutch aqua, a little pink, and then you finally get to your star. Layers, layers, layers. Actually, I might do a little star in this one. Color him in. Make him different than that one. I hope the light will pick up the gold so you guys can see how pretty it is. Oh, I got it. Oh, look at the gold. It's such a beautiful shimmery metallic. Oh, got it. That top star is like glowing. You can go in and add just little starbursts just to kind of fill in any open area. You don't have to do this. This is where I love it, when people just do whatever feels right for their painting. You can do some bursts, little dots. If you want to do a shooting star over here, I'll do some bursts. I love the gold. I love a little bit more gold. That's why I'm doing these little stars, just because you guys are seeing it at home and I'm seeing it here. The way the metallic, I won't be able to get it again. But the way oh, got it. The metallic picks up the light. It's just so complimentary of the matte acrylic that we're using. So another layer, another fun way to give dimension to your painting. All right, our little ladybug, same thing. Just kind of doodle outline him, not too heavy. You can outline his little dots. You can do that little, I should know, like that little center divide where his little wings would be when he's up and flying. His little antennas. You can give him some legs. If you want to, give him a little shadow where he's walking or crawling on your table. If you wanted to do that with the bowl, it's kind of a fun, just to give it a little shadow that it's sitting on the table. If you want to add just a little black to the details of your heart, or I'm sorry, your card. Just have fun doodling with the markers. They're so wonderful. And then little hearts. My little tablecloth is going to have a sweet little pattern on it. So using the paint marker, 2 dots, and then pull together to create the bottom. But just a fun little pattern, overall pattern. Oops. You guys can see I haven't had to pump paint into these markers. You can really create and draw and doodle forever. Sometimes you have to draw a heart, pump it, draw a heart, pump it. Those are terrible. These Apple Barrel paint pens, you can doodle for a long time. You can even base coat. You can apply so much color. There's so much pigment. The coverage is fabulous. So these, again, you can tell we're so excited. So you guys, I think that's everything. That's all of the fabulous things that will bring you luck for March, for St. Patrick's Day. So I hope you guys enjoyed painting this with me. Remember, Let's Paint Live. We teach you in about an hour a painting. It's the first Thursday of every month. And just a sneak peek at April. So April obviously is spring and Easter. So you guys join us and we're going to do a really fun option of a bunny. The blue and white pottery is so popular. The stripe is so popular. So just some more fun techniques.